Welcome back. Can't you just? It's exciting. It's so exciting. So I can't wait. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. So we're rooting both sides. So in the last one we were squaring, and now we're gonna be rooting. And as I was reading this example one baby, I originally meant like it's like a little baby example, but now it's like example one baby. I don't know. I don't, anyway, so example one, baby, the baby example. I don't know. Let's go for it. So x squared equals 25. So determine the values of x. And you heard that I was kind of going like that. I was like, determine the value of x. In other words, x could be definitely more than one value. So we got x equals 5. Now I wonder, interested to see, did you say x equals minus 5 as well? Well, I guess I'll see. Would have written that. So what we did here was we thought, oh well, we're squaring, so kind of the opposite of squaring is square rooting. So we're like, sweet, square root, and the square root of x squared is x. Excellent. Square root of 25 gave us the 5. That's what we had before. But there's also another option, which is this negative. So actually what we're doing, actually, is we're saying we're going to take the square root of x squared, and on the other side we're going to take the negative square root, and we're going to take the positive square root. Because look, they both work. So that's why we got our x equals 5 or x equals minus 5. So good I wrote it twice. Okay, let's go for example 2. Not baby. There's this toddler now losing it. So let's see. X minus 3 squared minus 25 equals 0. What does it look like we need to do? Think of the square rooting, what we did. What do you think the first step that we could do in this equation that would be useful? Okay, so we could add 25 to each side so that we've just got the x minus 3 squared on one side and 25 on the other. Now, the reason that I kind of garbled this idea of one thing we could do, I'm definitely loath to say this is the thing we must do, because there are many valid ways of solving that equation or thinking about that equation. So, but this is a useful way to do it. Okay, so x minus 3 squared equals 25. Let's think of our previous example and say x minus 3 equals 5, the square root, or x minus, minus 3. What's our other option that x minus 3 could equal? Well, negative 5, right? Because we could have had the positive square root. That was this one. So maybe we can put a little line to say this was the positive square root, or the second option was to have a negative square root. Okay, so there are two options. And it's kind of fits in because look, we've got an x squared, so we should have two solutions. So we merrily on our way and go, well, it's plus 3 to each side of our equation, right? So x equals 8, or we're going to plus 3 to each side of this equation. Let's just capture that. Plus 3, and whoa, x equals minus 2. So let's just check those, and I'm going to work through them here. I wish this thing had like a nice big pointer, but we've got the x minus 3. So 8 minus 3 gives us 5. 5 squared is 25, so that works. Negative 2, if we try that one. Negative 2 minus 3, negative 5. Negative 5 squared is 25. Okay. Looking good, eh? Now, this is kind of just an aside. So you don't even have to write this down, just take note of it. Let's look at another way of solving this equation. Perhaps I said, you know what? X minus 3 squared means x minus 3 times x minus 3 equals 25. I'm going to square out or multiply these brackets out. X squared minus 6x plus 9. And I'm going to subtract 25 on that side. So we've got equals 0 for our quadratic. X squared minus 6x plus 9 minus 25. Does that give us about minus 16 equals 0? Cool, we see this, we factorize. Equals 0. X 16 looks like 8 and 2, in fact minus 8 plus 2. So x equals 8 or x equals minus 2. Hey look, it still works, right? So we've got our two solutions. So which method should you use? It doesn't matter. Like, there's no way that you get this equation and you're told, well, you must do it that way, or you must do it that way. Both of them worked out well. Both of them were pretty neat, elegant enough, and both got us to our two solutions. So yeah, take your pick. For this one, it's worthwhile doing it this method so we get used to another method. Breather. Okay. Example 3. Is this, I don't know, this is maybe our teenager. I don't know why. It probably looks a bit simpler. But I put this one together because I thought that I could see, well, I thought originally I saw 2 ways of solving it, but now I see 3. Jot down very briefly at least one method of solving this, but if you've got a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, go for it. Okay, so here are the 3 methods that come to mind for me. Let's start with our first one, which is, well, we've got this x squared. Let's make sure we've just got the squared part there. So we're going to divide by 4, x squared equals 25. Now we've seen this one before, x equals minus 5 or x equals 5. One option. Option 2. Start with our 4x squared equals 100. You know what? I'm just going to go square root of both sides. Now be careful. If we take the square root, we're going to need to take the square root of the entire side and that entire side. Okay, so square root of 4x squared is, well, it's 2x. Square root of 100, remember we're going to have 2 options here. The positive square root or 2x equals the negative square root of that, negative 10. Okay, this looks great. Let's divide by 2. Same thing we're going to do in both equations. X equals 5 or x equals minus 5. Okay, so they're 2 so long. Third option that comes to mind. Isn't it exciting that there's so many ways to solve it? Well, I think it is. So we've got 4x squared equals 100. I mean, before with this type of thing, we said, you know what, there's an x squared. Rearrange it so we've got equals 0. So I'm going to subtract 100 from each side. So, no, we're in green, I don't know why. 4x squared minus 100. Oh, well, let's factorize. Well, a 4 goes into here. 4x squared minus 25 equals 0. This 4 is not actually doing too much. So actually our equation x squared minus 25 equals 0, because we could have divided both sides by 4, right? So divide by 4, those cancel, divide by 4, well, 0 over 4 is 0. I'm just adding a breather in for myself, maybe. X squared minus 25 equals 0. Whoop-de-doo, factorize equals 0. X, difference of 2 squares. So plus 5, minus 5. X equals minus 5 or x equals 5. Same solutions or set of solutions each time. As our last bit, I don't think, it's exercise time next. So as a last bit that I want to get from you, we've got option 1, option 2, option 3. Before I ask the question, all are as valid as the others. Which one kind of strikes you as, I don't know, an elegant way, one that grabs you that you want to do? 1, 2, or 3? And with that, it's time to practice a few. You know what, I think you can do all of them, because once you get into them, you really just hit them, and it's good to practice the different formats they come in. Exercise 2.5, page 45, all of them. You know what? Enjoy.